Leadership Podcast. I am Ryan Franks, your host, and it is Thursday. My goodness, the weather, something, it snows, it's sunshine. I cannot understand it, but nevertheless, we've got some incredible people making everything possible. First of all, we got the Messenger Studio. Thank you, the number one place, always rocking it for your best source of information. We've also got Journey Church. We've got Meade County Christian School, keeping Christ at the center, and Dunkin' Donuts out of Corden, Indiana. But I am so excited today. I've got the man, the legend. I've got the gentleman who is leading the way for McDonald's here all over different places. I've got Matt Dodd in the place. Hey, good afternoon, my friend. Thanks for coming in.
Hey, Ryan. So glad to be here with you, and pleasure to meet you when we did. And
absolutely.
Glad to be here now.
All right, so Matt Dodd. All right, so first of all, tell us just a little bit. You're in business, and you are in the restaurant business. Let's just start. Okay, so first of all, the most monumental name in business when it comes to food, and probably other things that we don't even know, McDonald's. You, right? Is that your sole thing? Is it McDonald's?
Yeah. So I'm a franchisee of 17 restaurants. I've been an owner-operator for the last 3 years, and I worked for McDonald's for about 18 years prior to that for different owners. So started when I was 15. Up in Cincinnati, Ohio. So I have yeah.
So I've got extended family in Cincinnati. Like my wife's like 50% Cincinnati. We will do there's like a Great Wolf Lodge out there, right?
Yeah.
There's some Dunkin'.
I love Kings Island.
Dude, right? Okay. Are you a roller coaster guy?
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Listen. So my wife does not ride them, and my 10-year-old does not ride them. So I'm literally waiting for my 7-year-old to get up to like 39, 40 inches.
Well, when you need a partner to go riding with you, I'm
telling you, like in the meantime, I'm gonna have to go with you.
It's good. I'll take that spot.
Dude, oh my goodness. So Cincinnati, Ohio, you've been working with the brand for 50. I mean, no, when you were starting at 15, so longer. Okay.
Yep. So about 22 years now.
Wow. All right. Just summer job that turned into something fun?
Yeah, I my parents were big on, the things that you want, you buy yourself. Okay. If you want to get a car, you earn the money to buy it.
Okay.
So, I started when I was 15, worked to, help pay my insurance and my car and my cell phone.
Okay.
So, they taught me well with that. And
wow.
I really enjoyed it. It was fast paced. It was, I liked school, but I just knew it wasn't like
that's interesting.
My thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let me ask you this. All right, because I read a study the other day out of Harvard. Let me ask you what grades you made as a high school student before I go into the stack, because it's going to be complimentary. But like, were you an A student, a C student?
Yeah, I mean A's and B's. I mean, I definitely did above average, but not amazing.
Well, I hear that like C and B students are the ones that end up being entrepreneurial because they're already ahead of the academics. They're just like, I'm ready. Like
mine were definitely mostly B's.
You had better grades than I did, because it wasn't until college that I was like, you know what? I should probably start trying.
My dad was a chemical engineer for P&G, though, so he was not thrilled if I didn't get the good grades.
Okay,
so he kind of kept on me with that, but he was a really hard worker and went into on weekends and everything else. So I think both my parents worked hard, and I think I just got some of their groove there. So
brothers, sisters?
Yeah, I have an older brother. He's 7 years older than me, and then a younger sister, 5 years younger.
You're the middle
child. He lives in Arizona now.
Does he really? What part of Arizona?
She lives in Phoenix.
Oh, okay. I was in Mesa, just on the on the east side.
That's where my aunt lives. Yeah.
Really?
So, yeah.
Okay. Only there for like 4 years. Very hot.
That's what they said.
Very hot.
They love the fall and winter, and they hate the summers.
I missed. I ended up missing the greenery. Like grass and trees. And what was so hot about Arizona is that you'll go through tires. Like within 4 or 5 years, I went through 4 sets of tires because it's like 130 degrees on the pavement, and all of that black sealant around your windshield gone. Like my rearview mirror would like fall off after a while, and you can only do so much like super glue before. And so I drove like 10 years without a rearview mirror. Any law enforcement like Sheriff Wimpy or whatever Brian Hagg is listening to this. Just kidding. I've got my rearview mirror now. But so are you from where's?
Yeah, home is Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay.
Or Northern Kentucky, really. And then I moved to Louisville back in 2016 to take a job with a franchisee down here.
Okay.
And I ran his company. We went from 3 restaurants to 17.
Wow.
He retired, and I bought my first 3.
Okay.
Back in the end of 2021, and in that 3-year period, we went from 3 to 17. So I'm really proud of that. So
that's
been awesome.
So you help me if I understand this right. Did you end up buying a market?
So there was actually some pretty distressed restaurants. 2 restaurants on Dixie Highway that I bought that needed a lot of improvement. And they were offered to a bunch of different operators, and they turned them down. So I became what's called a registered applicant for McDonald's, which is not a next generational, someone that's kind of in the business as a outside buyer. So they put you through a program. You do a little bit more training, which I had already been doing because I worked for that franchisee, and I did all of his books, and I did all of his operation stuff. So I was well ahead of that. And we struck a deal. I bought one of that previous operator's restaurants, and then I bought those 2 that were very underperforming. Yeah. And they just took off, and we did great in the communities, and they were up like 80 or 90%.
I have so many questions. Okay, so the first question I think a lot of business leaders are looking for an answer is, what kind of line of credit is available to people out there that have been doing it for a while? They understand the business, but they just need that little extra love, and knowing that there's like an understanding with the bank that says like, hey, until this starts performing, like I'm not like grace or mercy, because like payments are payments, but like how does a person go find, like, how do you even find a line of credit like that?
Yeah, so McDonald's actually does a wonderful job of setting the financing stuff up. So, and they have different tiers of what that looks like.
Okay.
So if they have a deal that they need to move specifically, there's specific lines of financing for that. Or they have conventional financing, which their conventional financing is 7 years. You put 25% down.
Okay.
And on occasion, they'll allow that to be 10 years, which I have a lot of 10-year notes.
Okay.
It just all depends on the deal, what that looks like.
Sure.
And quite frankly, with the interest rates right now, it's 10 years is pretty necessary at sometimes.
I completely agree. On the 25% on the note, or the 25% down payment, is that something that like a franchisor has to just have acquired after being in the business for a while, and it's the risk that they take, or is that like a personal loan note going into this?
Yeah, I mean it's basically you have to have some type of cash asset.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so that's a tough part with McDonald's sometimes, but there's like I said, there's kind of that other percentage of deals that they look at that, hey, if McDonald's needs something to work, they'll work with you. I mean, if you're the right person for the business, they work with you, and if you're willing to go to a certain state or a certain area that they are struggling to place franchisees at, I really believe, and I think Dunkin's a wonderful brand, but McDonald's is an amazing franchisor. It really is
That's awesome.
Top notch.
What kind of key performing metrics do you all use? So like you said that there was some underperforming, which I think there's underperforming in every market, in every kind of like business out there. What is one of the first things you recognized needed to be addressed to get the momentum going with like benchmarks and a timeline of how to arrive at a place and be like, okay, this is what we're going for. This is how we'll celebrate, but this has to be like, how do you go into something like that?
I really look at it with 3 things. So staffing the restaurant with management, operating hours, and then drive-through movement. So once those 3 things are kind of, I can really start moving that needle within 2 weeks of taking over a restaurant. I mean, if let's say they're at 300-second service times, we can get it over 100 seconds as long as you're in there. I've seen you working. You're in there moving them. You show them what it's like.
Yes.
You allow them to see you side by side with them, shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah.
And then you also realize, you make sure that they know that there's some accountability to, hey, if we're not meeting these goals, and then I think the consumers just start to realize they build back trust. And and then do something, for me with those underperforming restaurants, I did something unique. We redid the landscaping, had the whole building and parking lot pressure washed. Right. It was an expensive thing for us to do, but it showed the community, hey, we're doing something different that, we're here.
Absolutely.
We're family owned. We want to make sure that the community understands that they can come back and trust us.
That's amazing. Okay. Wow. Moving the needle within 2 weeks is pretty impressive. Talk to me a little bit about the hiring process, not just in like McDonald's, but you've been with business for a long time. Like, what is a person looking for in a a performance-based market like this, because any time that I've ever run into issue, it's just it's over-promising, it's under-delivering, or it's simply just like poor performance. It's just like there's a point where you have to ask yourself, like, hey, is this person the right fit? So maybe take me through the interview process. Like, give me some questions that are asked of a person to say, like, okay, this, Yeah,
I mean, I would say one of the things for our culture as a company is we almost ask them to almost interview us. Like, what is it that you're looking for out of this job? So a lot of people that won't hire, if you're not willing to work 40 hours any day, anytime, we're not interested. Well, I'm interested in anybody. If you're willing to work anything, we might have a spot. You can do 4 hours a couple nights a week. That's fine.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big piece. We're very, we're very flexible in hours of operation. We're very flexible in schedules. We have to get away from so high of a standard of like, hey, this is the way it has to be.
Okay. Okay. So let me ask you this. So if one person hears that and receives that as in like, oh, well, he's compromising. You're not. You're not compromising.
I think that we truly look at it as it's a business builder. So I'm still looking at, okay, do I need these type of shifts? But like my Brandenburg restaurant, we're very, very busy from 5 to 9 p.m. If someone's willing to work 3 days, those hours,
right?
I mean, that's
a home run.
Great for us.
Yeah.
Whereas other franchises or other businesses I've heard is, if you can't work exactly what I need you, 40 hours, 50 hours, we're not interested. It's complete opposite with McDonald's.
Wow. Okay. That's incredible. I know that with like the Dunkin' world, we are, we're breakfast driven, right? So we're going after pretty much, we're open at 4:30. We're pretty much running from like 5. Like this morning, I went and helped with the rush, right? Just because Valentine's Day, right? Valentine's Day, for whatever reason, heart-shaped donuts. That's just like where it's at, right? That's where it's at. And so, like we were shoulder to shoulder. We were in it to win it. We were looking at the speed. The speed for us is called HME. It's the program. It's the software.
We use HME timers.
Okay, awesome. Yep. Gosh, I know that like a Dunkin' HME needs to be like around 150 or less, and I know a lot of stores are doing like 120. Yeah. But they're very, like, they've been in the drive-through mentality for a while. It's not just like, oh, I think, we've got a big lobby. I think we're going to go to 120 in the next week. So, it's like the whole training. But that's incredible. So so you're looking at them just not for their schedule, but what are some things about the person that gives you the impression that they could be a right fit? Like, what are some questions that would be asked in a person?
Yeah, I mean, just, what they want to achieve.
Sure.
That's a big thing for us, because I think McDonald's gets too little of credit of what the career advancement looks like.
Okay, cool.
I think number one in America, 1 in 8 have worked at McDonald's.
I believe that.
So
Steve's worked at McDonald's. You worked at McDonald's, did you? Was it awesome?
I would be lying to you if I didn't. I was the biscuit guy in the mornings on Saturdays and Sundays.
Guy.
I did early in the morning, and I worked like, 5 or 6 hours on a Saturday and a Sunday because those were the only days. And then what's the 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock closer guy?
Oh, yeah.
And then I was like
speaking to the business, you have worked for McDonald's. That's awesome.
Grill. We did the grill, but I didn't have it back in the day where like we had to prep the food and it went in the slider and you had somebody calling out and
shout. The bin, yeah.
Yeah, the bin.
I'll tell you, we have the coolest 1 in 8 like celebration with a Letterman jacket. We gotta come back and do that.
You got a Letterman jacket?
No, yeah. So we it's like for the 1 in 8. We got to do this for you, Steve.
What?
All right,
let's go.
I'll tell you. And then I served 32 years in the Army as a result of the work ethic I picked up there and Boy Scouts. So
yeah, I'm telling you,
poster child right there, man.
We truly get some of the shyest kids. I was even shy somewhat when I was younger, and I had a pretty decent personality, but I was shy around strangers.
Okay,
and it like took me out of it within a month.
That's awesome.
I was like as bubbly as you could be, and just
so it was good for you too.
Yeah,
it was good for you.
And I don't know, it just. As I started to progress throughout, I just loved it. I loved everything about it. even the chaos that comes with fast food.
I say planned chaos.
Yeah.
Like I love slushing
Sometimes
around drinks. Yeah, I know, right? We always share that with people as we're hiring. We're just like, hey, it's not under pressure, but do you like working in fast pace? Like, do you feel obligated to like apologize every time like my shoulder touches? I was like, because we're gonna be okay. I was just like, and just let me know if you're coming with something hot, or if you're grabbing a donut on top, and some people are really cut out for it. Some people are, and some people it's challenging. It's challenging, right? And so
it's funny you said that, because one of the questions sometimes we do ask is like, what do you like to do for fun? And it'll kind of
let's go.
It'll like get your head turning, because they'll give you answers and you're like, okay, you may not like this part of the job. So maybe this is a better, whether it's service or grill or
right.
And you could tell immediately when someone does not want to be around people. So it's like, that's fine. You can do the grill area and you don't have to deal with anybody. You can be in your own, you're going to learn all the stations.
Yeah.
We have a great training system, and that's fine. So I just, I keep going back to flexibility, but it's really what it's about.
Dude, that's so funny, because one of the questions I'll ask sometimes is like, hey, do you like people? And there are some brutally honest people there. And, it's funny if they hesitate or they pause, they're like, I'm like, that's a good enough answer. It's like, it's fine. Like, well, there's a place for you. There's a place for you.
When they tell me their most exciting part of their day is this, like their TikTok videos, I'm like, I get it. Okay, I'm understanding now. I'm reading what you're putting out.
That is so funny. Do you know, out of like all the platforms I've ever tried, I've yet to sign up for a TikTok account.
You can look at my phone right now. I don't have one.
I don't have one. I think Instagram is just like a poor attempt on trying to have another platform. I'm Facebook.
Yeah, I can't get past it either. Like, I have an Instagram, but it's like, someone's like, hey, can I add your Instagram handle? I'm like, I have like 100 followers.
Yeah, I don't have hardly any followers at all.
But I still like Facebook.
Well, I saw a study the other day that even with the next generational, coming up and everything, Facebook still, there's a huge gap between first and second place on social media platforms, and Facebook still just runs it. And, and that's interesting that comes up based on fast food restaurants and even coffee for that matter. I looked at the statistics of McDonald's and the rest of the world. There is no second place. Like, there's a person in second, but it's like watching a track meet, and it's like watching McDonald's finish the whole race, and like 4 minutes later, second place is crossing. What makes McDonald's? What is it about McDonald's where people are just like, McDonald's? I mean, it's even nicknamed Mickey D's.
Yeah, I think the legacy of it and the nostalgia of the boomer age, but I think also it's just got a level of service. They've stayed relevant. I mean, we did the Grimace Shake last year. That went nuts.
That was awesome.
I mean, when you talk about something that, we ran out of that product in a week because we were supposed to have it for a month.
Okay. Wow. That's the purple drink, right?
Yeah, the purple drink.
Okay. I remember that character growing up.
It's Shamrock Shake season right now.
It's Shamrock Shake season, yes. And 25 cents of every shake goes to the Ronald House, which
that's incredible.
Is an awesome, it's an awesome program. But it's just it's got that like Americana to it.
Yeah.
And they've just they've done stuff to stay relevant. And I think
that's interesting.
You were talking about the competition. Is what we have to watch is, there's a lot of very small competitors that are just taking a small piece.
Sure.
Whether it's even Dunkin' or McDonald's, you have all these different coffee brands that are coming in, and that's what we have to watch out for, because it's that large lead. Mm-hmm. It can be inched away quickly. So
so I have a personal question then. All right, so every single Dunkin' that I have in Wichita, right, we'll build one, right? It's more effective and efficient if we will go find an end cap somewhere, not a standalone, right? That's just kind of like a little bit of like how we are doing things. But I think every single one we have is a standalone in Wichita. And every time we put one up, I mean, you can count the days until like Seven Brew and Dutch Brothers and Heine Brothers and obviously the Bucks. Like, I don't know if we really compete with Starbucks. Like, their brand is just so right. Like, we're not really competitors with Starbucks. I think that when they come, they do take a lot of our business, but I do believe that because we're franchisable and they're incredibly corporate, and I'm not comparing, apples to apples, because I know that McDonald's are franchiseable, but like you were just saying, like there's this massive, like everybody just, the culture is like set, right? They come in, they take a little piece, like we're still operational, we're still, the idea is to make, profit margins and things like that. What do you suggest to any business owner? So whether it be like lumber or like custodial or like cleaning services, like when somebody moves into the market, what does a business do to,
I mean, so for us, we do it all the time. Honestly, we have to do strategy planning for every. You guys are putting a Dunkin' right near Cane Run Road in McDonald's, so it's part of the strategy where we're talking about, okay, what does our delivery strategy look like? We're running promotions on those platforms. We're, gearing up for, hey, are we doing a promotional breakfast item?
Okay.
It's be good at what you're good at. Be even better.
Sure.
And then. Be creative on the deals you're offering. You guys can do a great job with delivery, and so can Starbucks and everything, but McDonald's is fast, convenient. They're usually cheaper.
Yeah.
And I can run promotions like crazy on that platform. So maybe what I lose in breakfast sales from a competitor coming in, or coffee sales from a 7 Brew coming in, I can add it back on at rest of day sales with delivery or utilization of the mobile app.
Okay, okay, so what do you share? What do you tell a business owner who says, like, hey, when it comes to like books and numbers and customer service, like I know a lot of people who would say to me, like, Ryan, I don't feel creative. Like, and I know that, like, as an entrepreneur, we'd be like, well, we need to go meet people that are creative. But is that what you would say to somebody who's just like, I don't know how to invent a promotion or even how to market it or how to strategize. I can sell it, but I can't think of it. Like,
yeah, I'm kind of spoiled in that aspect, because McDonald's, when you
That's
have
awesome.
McDonald's buy that, there's such a platform for that. So there's a lot of help there. There's a huge amount of marketing people that you can call, but there is some creativity just on my own that I feel like I've learned by myself.
Sure.
Just from understanding business better as I've learned the business. But I think for people that are just starting out, or they're trying to navigate what that looks like for them, it's, use the community.
Right. Okay.
Louisville's a little bit tougher because the community is such a spread out community. So like to nail down the Meade County of things, or the Cordon.
Right.
I love those cities because it's easy to, when you're running something, you can blast it through Facebook, or
that's true.
There's such easy ways to navigate that.
That's interesting. I hadn't thought about it like that.
It's something, get creative, use your surroundings. So like if you're in front of high volume laundromats or different things like that, things like that. It's you again, use what's around you.
Okay. If you have had a great history and run of expanding, right? Yep. When you went from, was it 3 to 17?
Yeah. We've bought about five every 7 months.
Wow. How do you adapt to such a larger scale? Is it additional district managers?
Yes.
Okay.
I would say I'm always plotted for about 3 to 5 restaurants of growth. So like the normal franchisee, I would say, keeps their district supervisors at about 4 restaurants.
Okay.
I never exceed 3.
Never exceed 3.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that. I'm very interested.
It's been a strategy that I've used since I first started. Even at times where I'll take much less money from on a salary, and make sure that I have the general and administrative expense to pay that out. But it's really what has allowed us to continue to develop. We're constantly sending people to classes. Daily, weekly, monthly.
Where do you say? Well, like where does it?
It all depends. So some we have internally. Some we send them to Columbus or like Lexington or Louisville, and then there's quite a few classes that go to Chicago as well. So I'm kind of the person that has no limit on. Like we don't have a budget for that. Like if they're ready to go, send them. I'll figure it out. And that that's how we expand it that way. That's how we expand it that way. Because a lot of people would fold if they grew that way.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
And there was days that was very tough. I mean, I don't always display those to McDonald's because you want to look very strong. But I mean, there's days where I went to bed stressed. But
I'm just like, did I do the right thing?
Yeah.
Did I do the right thing?
But in a month or two after that, I'm like, man, I'm really glad we did this.
Yes.
So there's some tough days, but there's a lot of better ones.
What do you lean into? What do you lean on when you do go to bed? Because I know a lot of small business or business owners, for that matter, on a little to great scale, who are going to bed stressed, and they're waking up stressed. I am super pumped to hear that after a couple of weeks or months, is what you said, that, with your structure, I think, which is a huge word in all of this structure, like, where you're going, which I think is like half the battle. What do you say to a business owner who's just like, I'm living in stress, I'm not seeing, just continue to be educated, kind of what you're doing with your DMs?
I'll tell you, the biggest level of stress that I think anybody has as a business owner is make sure your financials are okay. That is, that's the biggest piece of advice I can give is, if you're going into it, make sure that the numbers work for you and your family, that you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Because when that starts going,
man, that's so good.
That's when you start cutting back, you start dropping people off your floors or your business. And then all of a sudden your customer service goes sideways. I've seen that happen a lot, in McDonald's and different organizations and different, different franchises. And that's when you start seeing a great business go way sideways. And make sure your accounting, make sure your financials are good. Keep a very close eye on your books. I look at even with 17 restaurants, I look at every single one of my bank accounts every single day, probably twice a day.
Yeah.
I don't let there become an error to where things go crazy.
When you are giving that much attention to detail for so many, is there a time and a place where you not delegate, but you bring on like an assistant or an administrator that reports just to you, that you trust to do things like that? I
have a director. Her name is Amanda. She's amazing. One of the smartest people I've ever met in my life. She just can remember stuff that doesn't have to write it down. It's just awesome. Incredible. Like, if I did her job half as good as her, I'd be impressed. But she just, I trust her with my life.
Yeah.
She can do anything for me, but what I try to make sure, she deals with the district supervisors and operations of stuff.
Right.
And then anything I can take off of her plate with like paperwork or banking or things like that, that I can still handle really easily. Right. While still attending meetings or doing whatever I need to do, and then still touring the restaurants. I like to be in the restaurants. It gives me life. So I'm there. I can delegate anything to her, and she can handle it. It's just really, I want to make sure her quality of life is good still as well. So
that seems to be huge, because I know a lot of good people that are very talented at their job get super burnt because, and what is, man, I've seen shelf lives of people that are very qualified to come in and they're burnt in like 60, 90 days. And then I've seen some people that are just like, hey, I've been 2 years into this. I'm crushing it. All I feel like I'm doing is putting out fires. I don't think there's any structures. I don't think we're implementing any policies. There's way too much freedom, and I'm not actually leading. I'm just putting, I'm just trying for everything not to burn to the ground that day. What do you say to somebody like that who is trying to turn it around?
I'll tell you, that's number one. The grind is going to be there always. Yeah. I think to some degree it's going to be there.
Okay.
But what I've found lately is, I had a company full of grinders, because I'm a grinder.
Yeah.
Like, I will get in and get it done until it's right. I don't care if I have to work all day and all night. It doesn't matter. I would find a way to make sure it happened.
That's awesome.
I also know that that's not realistic to continue. So, so what I found is, I've always been a big believer in developing from within. But that's kind of the McDonald's side of me. And what I found, getting smarter and smarter at business, is surround yourself with talent that challenges you as well.
Yeah.
And I think that goes for anything: politics, business,
right?
Anything, family.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Get your significant other that is, challenges you every day. But it's really one of those things that we've brought in people that have challenged the norms that we do, and kind of got us even excelled in every way, in training, in development of our people, in holding people accountable. You know, whereas I'm extremely nice. I struggle to have those hard conversations.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've developed myself around those people that can have them easily, and it's not a big deal to them.
Okay.
And it's just been a good fit. And
that's
I think,
awesome.
you know, again, for the structure part you were talking about.
Yeah.
You know, make sure that those business owners have a good mix of what that looks like, because, you know, you want to develop from within, you want to offer opportunities for your people.
Right.
But you also want to make sure that there's a mix of dynamic there.
Okay. Awesome. That's incredible. Wow. What is something, okay, first of all, tell me, do you like to read? Do you read?
I do. I mean, it has to be intriguing. I have to get caught pretty quickly because my mind, you were talking about being a squirrel earlier. That's me. Like
that squirrel was a bad squirrel, man.
Yeah. If I don't find a interest in something very quickly, I'm like,
you're gone.
Yeah. So,
okay.
But I do love to read. I love to, you know, I love to read about business. I love to read about, just anything that catches my attention quickly.
Podcast, like obviously, no pun intended, but like when you're driving and you're not doing phone calls, you're not doing meetings, and you're not checking bank accounts, like, are you listening to anything?
I don't have. I'll listen to Joe Rogan podcast just to be honest.
So do I.
But yeah, so that's the one that I've probably caught on to a little bit better.
Leadership and business podcast.
Yeah. Right.
Sure,
of course, now he's got two.
But I. Usually it's an audiobook, or honestly, sometimes I just need the quiet time.
The quiet is huge, man. Like when I take my ears out from like a phone call or something, and my ears just breathe for the first time, and just like the sound of the car, it gives me life. You know, it's so funny. That totally has nothing to do with our podcast or the podcast today, but I am stuck in this one podcast with Joe Rogan that was probably from like 4 years ago. Is like the first dude, and he wasn't at Area 51. He was at like the base right next to it, that like where they said like everything really. And I'm not suggesting today that like aliens and all that stuff, like, but like there's something fishy going on out there, right? Like even if it's like total bonkers and there's no truth behind it, and there probably isn't. I want to know where this is coming from. I mean, like, he's incredibly descriptive, and like this dude's been like saying this for like 30 years, and so and if he's on Joe Rogan, like some due diligence has been done, right? So that is way funny. And then sometimes he brings on the funniest people.
I'm listening to one right now. I don't sleep well at night, and it's not just about stress. It's been like since I was 18 years old. I had back surgery and I feel all that, but it was just stupid, and I do not sleep well. And I'm listening to one. I can't remember his name, but it's Joe Rogan, and it's about meditation and like some books to read, and it's just been really good. And it's
not that one that's like that consciousness one, right? Where like he realized. I'm listening to one.
I've watched that.
You've seen that?
This is a different.
This is something different.
I have the episode. I was
going to say, yeah.
It then provided a couple more books to read from that. So
there's a lot of books that come out of those conversations, and there's times I'll go to like Barnes and Nobles or Half Dot or Amazon or eBay, and then I'll find it on Walmart. Like Walmart's always got like that book for like just pennies on the dollar. So I've got a whole library of probably like Joe Rogan references just sitting there waiting to be.
Yeah, my Amazon wish list is like full of that kind of stuff. So
that's awesome. What would you say? Okay, one more question, and then anything you'd like to close thought wise today. Yeah. What are some hobbies that you do to channel just winding down this, just not stress, right? Because like. I love this. I don't love all kinds of stress, but I don't mind the craziness of it all. I love the planned chaos. I love the unplanned chaos. Like I process that. I eat it. But there are moments where I'm just like, all right, I'm putting on the clothes. I'm going to the gym. I'll be back in like an hour and a half. Like I'm going to go run it out. I'm going to go listen to something. What is something that you do that you could give some help to people who are needing to process?
Yeah, honestly, I just think it's about finding something that you have passion for. I mean, there's times I'll go to a community event that has nothing to do with like it's Jeffersonville. I don't own any restaurants there, but it's something that I'm passionate about. It's fun for me. I like interacting with people, and sometimes I like it not to be about McDonald's.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
It just kind of takes you away. And honestly, when people ask me what I do for a living, I'd never say I own McDonald's. I always say I work at McDonald's.
You work at McDonald's?
Yeah.
I like that.
I never ever say I own McDonald's.
Now, tell me where that comes from. Is that just a humility thing, or is that because people look at you different when they think something?
Yeah, I think it's partially a humility thing, and partially the fact that I've never found myself out of the restaurants. Like I told you, I worked there for 18 years of my career. I never found myself above that in any way.
Cool. I like that.
I believe in that. I think it's, I love my employees. I think that those people are underestimated sometimes in the world.
Sure.
And I mean, they're some of the hardest working people I've ever met. So it's like, I work there.
I know several of the employees over at the Brandenburg McDonald's. Amazing women. One of them, his name is Sue, who's been there for a while. Sue is awesome.
Sue, Robin, Anita, Cherie. I mean, they're fantastic.
They're so good. Yeah. They're so good, and they're funny. And they'll humor my terrible jokes. They'll be like, "We haven't seen you in a while. Where you been?" And I'm just like, "Hey, I got this really bad joke. I'm trying it on my kids. Can I try it on you?" And they're just like, "Yeah, tell me." And they still give me out like in like 15 seconds, right in the drive-thru. Like they humor me and they get everything. I love it. So, anyways, hey. Thank you for taking the time to come by. This has been a lot of fun. I could probably ask questions for hours about just some of the things. But anyways, thank you for taking the time, my friend.
It's been awesome meeting you, Ryan, and it's truly been my pleasure.
Absolutely. Hey, listen, we've got some good stuff coming up in the next couple of weeks. We've got some general managers from Starbucks coming in. That's right. The good old competition. I'm just kidding. Hey, great people I've known for some years. Please take some time, stop back around. But thank you for stopping in. Thank you, Matt. And we'll see you soon. Be blessed.
Take care.